Ooh. I got nothing. We got destroyed last night. Just one of those things, man. It happens. Like Josh Allen said after the game yesterday, hopefully we got it out of the way now and it doesn't happen later on. Wonderful game played by you, Baltimore. We'll talk in a minute, but really quick, I just want to formally welcome everybody to my Week 4 NFL reactions. I still don't know what to say about this season, man. Just when you think you've got things figured out, it gets even weirder. Real quick before we hop into it, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 lineup after using code WyattzWorld at sign up on Prize Picks. However, that's all I got for plugs. Let's get into my Week 4 reactions. Okay guys, so obviously the first game I'm reacting to is going to be Thursday Night Football, but I would just like to advertise that this weekend I plan to stream the Vikings London game versus the Jets. It'll be on Twitch. Be there. Anyway, looking at this game, the Cowboys ended up beating the Giants in a competitive game 20-15. Now the Cowboys could have added a field goal onto that, but Brandon Aubrey was unfortunately forced to miss it because if the Cowboys would have beaten the Giants by more than 5.5 points, 50% of America would have won a lot of money. Dak Prescott had an accurate day, 22 for 27, 221, 2 touchdowns. Receiving was led by CeeDee Lamb, who had 98 yards and a score, and the other score actually came from Rico Dowdle. Is that how you say it? And their defense, even though they did tighten up on the run game a lot, they have a big concern with Micah Parsons, who was down twice and ended up leaving the game the second time with an ankle sprain. Looking at the Giants now, I actually don't think they played that bad of a game at all. Obviously, rushing was abysmal, but Malik Neighbors went off. Wan'Dale Robinson had a great game. Now, Malik Neighbors did give himself a concussion at the end, but claims he's fine, so that's good. And when it comes to Daniel Jones, I do want to say, even though I don't think in the grand scale of things, especially on third down, the guy played that bad of a game. But the internet isn't wrong when they're saying that his underthrows on the deep shots are what's holding them back. I mean, that was kind of obvious this game, and it's a little bit embarrassing that your kicker, who is Greg Joseph, might I add, is responsible for every single one of your points. Like, good game, Greg, but damn, Danny, you were this close to having a really good game. All right, now moving on to Sunday, we have a pure red zone game from me. It was the Bengals beating the Panthers, finally getting their first win. Now, Joe Burrow went 22 for 31, 232, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Chase Brown led rushing with 2 touchdowns and 80 yards. Looks like Jamar Chase led the team with 3 receptions for 85 yards and a touchdown. He's having a really nice season. Zach Moss caught the other touchdown, and Von Bell has appeared to have picked off the Red Rifle himself. Looking at the Panthers now, Andy Dalton, 25 for 40, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Damn, him and Burrow really went toe for toe. My biggest take from the rushing here is that Chuba Hubbard is not actually Chuba Hubbard. It's a guy playing in his jersey just to try and make him look good. I simply don't believe it. Receiving was led by Deontay Johnson, who had 7 for 83, 1 touchdown. Big X went 6 for 66 and a score. And when it comes to defense, it looks like Xavier Woods actually popped off here, 7 tackles, 1 pick. However, their defense as an entire unit apparently wasn't able to get to Joe 1 time. So good on you, Cincy O-line. Now moving on, we got the Saints losing to the Falcons. It's another laptop game here. I was at my cousin's in the garage watching the Vikings-Packers game, basically locked into that all day. But from what I got to see out of this one, is that the Saints offense, even though they were able to drive, is continuing to stall when it comes to getting points from passing. And on top of that, as an Alvin Kamara fantasy owner, Taysom Hill made me want to smash myself in the face with a wine bottle. Receiving, like I said, were able to drive down the field, just struggled to put up any sort of points. And it also, again, looks like their defense was headlined by Paulson Adebo, who had another 10-tackle game, this time with an interception. Glancing over at Atlanta now, their offense was actually abysmal. They didn't score a single point. You can thank Younghoe Koo and the defense and special teams. Tyler Algier is continuing to outproduce Bijan, which I fucking can't stand. And Kyle Pitt fantasy owners are also smashing themselves in the face with a wine bottle because this guy was not able to log a single catch all day. Good game out of Troy Anderson and D. Alford. Shit, and Mike Hughes. I watched him last week on primetime, dude. He's not that bad this year. What the hell? Now moving on, we have Jacksonville falling to 0-4 versus Houston after their offense completely stalled out in the fourth quarter. You hate to see it. Trevor threw 18 for 33, 169, 2 touchdowns. Don't let the turnover rate fool you there. I saw some of his misses. They were not good. Rushing was led by Tank Bigsby, who had 7 for 90. What's going on over there? Receiving was led by Brian Thomas, who had 6 for 86 and a score. Christian Kirk had 7 for 61 and a score. And judging by the defensive box score, it would look like Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen were pretty new neutralized. Houston ended up putting it together for a good day. CJ threw for 345, 2 touchdowns. Nico Collins dialed it up in receiving, 12 catches for 151 yards and a score. Darer, I don't know how to say his last name, sealed the game with an electric revenge touchdown. And again here, the combination of Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, it doesn't look like they did much of anything. Holy shit, it's Robert Woods. I haven't thought about him in like 3 years. This? Now we got the Broncos beating the Jets 10-9. Look at this box score here, brother. Tell me what I'm missing. Bo Nix threw for 60 yards and a touchdown on the day. I'm honestly hearing he had negative passing yards through the first half. Every receiving yard was caught by Cortland Sutton, even though 6 people had receptions. If you're wondering how that's even possible, it's because of these two down here. But Tyler Bidet, I hope he's okay, because after he fumbled the ball, he actually had like a medical incident. But outside of that, the defense also had 5 sacks on the day. Now looking at the Jets, Rodgers threw for 225, 0-0. Breece Hall had 10 carries for 4 yards. Receiving was led by Mike Williams. I'm reading on Twitter Garrett Wilson getting drugged through the mud. I don't have an opinion on it yet. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this game. And the Jets defense wasn't able to get to Bo one time or make him turn the ball over. Oh damn, and Greg went 3 for 4? Oh, I wonder if he's losing sleep. What a shit show, but thank you Denver, honestly. That makes this week go easier. Woo! Now we got the Vikings going 4-0 against Green Bay, smoking that pack. Green Bay fans, I got a lot of respect for you, but a lot of you turned into babies after this. Wasn't a pretty second half for Minnesota. I understand it. It was very stressful, but they won the fucking game. Sam Darnold, the guy who was gonna suck in week 4 this year because he was bad in week 4 2 years ago in Carolina, he threw for 275 and 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones went 22 for 93 on the ground. Jordan Addison had a rushing touchdown. Jordan Addison had a receiving touchdown. Jefferson had a receiving touchdown where he wasn't open at all. He just told the Packer to get the fuck off him. Josh Oliver had a receiving touchdown. And the Vikings logged 3 interceptions coming from Byron Murphy, Shaquille Griffin, and is it Grudgy or Grudjire? Camu Grudjire Hill. Looking at Green Bay, Jordan Love did throw 4 touchdowns, but also had 3 picks, and I gotta say, did not look healthy at all. He didn't look like he was able to move. Run game wasn't bad, but they had no reason to run considering they were getting their asses kicked after the first quarter. Receiving was actually not bad. Jaden Reed popped off for 139 and a score. Tucker Kraft got a score, but Christian Watson did get hurt. And big shout out to Xavier McKinney, who is continuing to prove he is worth every single cent they're giving him. Also, talk about a kicker who's probably losing sleep here. Poor Braden Narvson, 0 for 2, and they lost by 3 points. Yikes. Also, any Green Bay fans saying Jair would have made the difference here? No, he wouldn't have, because his father, Jordan Addison, was on the field. He wouldn't have done shit. Now moving on, we got the Steelers losing to the Colts. They got Joe Flacco'd. Him coming into that game was the worst fucking thing that could have ever happened to you guys. So for one, AR, hope he has a speedy recovery, but he injured his hip. Not sure what the significance of it is. But looking at the Colts here, Joe Flacco went 16 for 26, 168, 2 touchdowns. JT ran the ball for 88 yards and a score. And then we got to see on receiving Michael Pittman come back to earth with 6 catches for 113 yards, and Josh Downs explode for 8 and 82 and a score. Glancing over at Pittsburgh now, Fields apparently is continuing to play well. I think he had a pretty silly fumble if I saw correctly, but threw for 312 and a touchdown. No picks on the day. Obviously, his legs were everything yesterday. Fields scored twice doing that. That's exactly what I was talking about when I said I would rather have him than Russ. If Russ was playing, the Steelers would have gotten fucking killed this game. Pickens went off and had a great day, just like I advertised. Freiermuth had the score for receiving. And whatever the hell Indy's O-line did to combat TJ Watt, it clearly worked because he didn't have a sack for the first time this season. Also heard Broderick Jones is just asshole now. Can you guys follow me up on that one? Anyway, congrats Colts and Steelers. If Anthony Richardson would have stayed in, you guys would have won that game. Now moving on, we got the Rams losing to the Bears. Can't lie, Chicago, I was getting real fucking impatient with you guys, and then you finally turned on the Jets. Caleb Williams, 17 for 23, 157, 1 touchdown. He is appearing to have pretty insane progression from week 1, if you're asking me. DeAndre Swift actually had a good rushing game, 16 for 93. Him and Rashawn Johnson both had touchdowns. Swift also led receiving with 7 for 72, while DJ Moore grabbed the touchdown. And the defense came up with 3 sacks, where one of them was from Jaquan Brisker, who also had an interception. Speaking at the Rams now, Stafford appeared to be accurate, however didn't throw a touchdown and did make a mistake. Kyron Williams had a fantastic day on the ground with the score in 94 yards. Tutu Atwell led receiving with 82 yards. And even though Rams defense answered back with 3 sacks of their own, the Big Blue found themselves down by 6 points. They really needed Cup back here. Now we got Todd Bowles bodying Nick Sirianni once again. I read at one point during this game the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 255 yards of offense and the Eagles had 0. Jalen Hurts threw for 150 and a touchdown, also scored a touchdown off of a tush push. Paris Campbell had the receiving touchdown for Philly. That's another name I haven't heard in 2 years. And the defense I was just talking up from, having this physical bounce back last week, laid on the ground and died. Looking at Jake Elliott here, obviously I didn't get to watch this entire game. Did Nick Sirianni not attempt a field goal one fucking time? Nice. Speaking at Tampa Bay, Baker, 347, 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irving and Rachaad White had the same exact production, although Bucky got the score. Baker also had a rushing touchdown of his own. Receiving touchdowns came from Mike Evans and Trey Palmer, even though Chris Godwin continues to be very effective. And Tampa Bay sacked Jalen Hurts 6 times this week, with Levante David having 2 of them. Apparently, Derrick Henry isn't the only one breaking the age barrier this year. Good game, Tampa. Philly, I don't know what to say about that one. Now moving on, we have the Commanders blowing out the Cardinals in Washington. Let me just do this. I'm up, okay? I'm up. I'm awake. I ain't sleeping on you anymore. Still don't think your defense is perfect, but you guys you're not a bad team. Jaden Daniels again, 26 for 30, 233, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. First pick of his career. Rushing was led by Brian Robinson Jr., 21 for 101 and a touchdown. Jeremy McNichols had 2 rushing touchdowns, and Jaden had a rushing touchdown. Receiving also led by Omalide Zacchaeus, who made a stupid-ass penalty, but had Terry McLaurin getting a receiving touchdown for the 2nd week in a row. And their defense was able to get to Kyler Murray a total of 4 times, led by 87-year-old Bobby Wagner. You can tell this offense, actually believes they can play. They have an energy I haven't seen on them in so long, dude. This team actually looks fucking good. Looking at Arizona now, not really sure what to say about them. Kyler underperformed, 142 and 1 touchdown, especially against the Washington secondary. James Conner, 18 for 102 and a rushing touchdown. Marvin Harrison went off at the beginning, logging in a touchdown, but I don't think he did much after that. And the defense was led by Budda Baker, who had 10 tackles, and Garrett Williams, who had the pick, which I didn't even see. The only thing I can say about Arizona this game that I thought was a real issue, even though the Kyler Murray only got sacked 4 times, which, by the way, isn't good. Their O-line was bad. It seemed like he was fucking running for his life majority of the game. Now moving on, we got the Patriots getting waxed by the 49ers. I was incredibly close with the score on this game. I'm fairly certain. This was an ass kicking. Jacoby threw for 168, a touchdown, a turnover. Rushing wasn't really able to generate shit. Receiving was led by Antonio Gibson, naturally, because that's just the most Patriot thing I've ever seen. Austin Hooper had the 1 reception touchdown for New England, and their defense was headlined by Raekwon McMillan, Christian Gonzalez, and Jabril Peppers, who had the interception. Now when it comes to San Francisco, weirdly, Purdy's worst game this year, in my opinion, is the one that they come back and win on. He threw for 288, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but only 15 for 27. Jordan Mason absolutely 8 for 123 and a touchdown. Receiving was headlined by Juwan Jennings and Debo, even though George Kittle had 4 receptions for 45 yards in the score. And their defense may have had a heyday, but we gotta talk about Fred Warner really quick, okay? The people who are saying that he's gonna win the Defensive Player of the Year, shut the fuck up. That's honestly so stupid. Because he's winning the fucking MVP at this point. That man is on fire! It's been 4 weeks and the guy has 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6, 3 forced fumbles, a sack. What the fuck are we eating? Now moving on, we have the Chiefs beating the Chargers in another game that I think I was wickedly close on, if I'm not mistaken. Couple of takeaways from the Chargers. 1, I've never seen Justin Herbert smash his helmet against the fucking bench before, so something's gotta give there. Comes to rushing, J.K. Dobbins was neutralized again, and when that happens, the Chargers do not offensively perform well. Receiving was led by Ladd McConkey, who had 5 for 67 and a touchdown. Their defense was able to pick Mahomes off once and sack him 3 times, but apparently weren't able to do enough with the opportunities. Is this Bud Dupree with 2 sacks? Holy shit. Looking at the Chiefs, my quick take is, yeah, they're not the best team in the league. They're 4-0, but they could be 1-3 or 2-2. Mahomes 19 for 29, 245, a touchdown, a pick. Kareem Hunt led the team in rushing, although Samaje Perine took the touchdown, and receiving was actually led by Travis Kelce, who went 7 for 89, and Xavier Worthy, who went 3 for 73 with a touchdown. You see, it's sick because I know what's gonna happen with the fucking Chiefs. They're gonna get all the way to the end of the season and hit a slump, and then all these games that they just barely got out of alive are gonna be the reason that they get into the playoffs or get locked in as the 1 seed. Teams don't understand it. When you have a chance to beat them, you have to fucking do it. Now moving on, we got the Raiders beating the Browns. I thought I was pretty clear on this one that I wasn't gonna fucking watch it, and I meant it. But it is hilarious that Cleveland lost to the Raiders, who didn't have Max Crosby or Devontae Adams or another handful of people I'm probably missing. Tell you what, I saw one play from the Browns, and it was Amari Cooper's touchdown at the end that got called back. Looking like Minshew only threw for 130. The rushing, we saw 7 different people have carries. Scores came from DJ Turner and Trey Tucker. Receiving was led by Jacoby Myers, and defensively, I think the Raiders Panthers did a lot more than they were supposed to. Looking at Cleveland, I don't know how Watson's performance really was, so I don't want to comment on it other than the fact I just think he's a douchebag. Jerome Ford had 10 for 58. His long rush I saw came at the end. Receiving was led by Jerry Jeudy with 6 for 72. Blake Whiteheart had the touchdown, whoever the fuck that is. And it looks like defensively, other than Myles Garrett's 2 sacks, they weren't able to get to Gardner one time or pick him off. Absolutely disgusting, Cleveland. Like, absolutely disgusting. And ending, we have the Bills getting destroyed by the fucking Ravens. And yeah, Baltimore again, tip of the hat. Great game. Great bounce back for you guys on the season, too. You guys are in a much better position than you were just a couple weeks ago. I knew that this fucking game was over after the first quarter. I knew it. The defense wasn't out there to play, man. They didn't give a shit. Matter of fact, in the second half of the game, right when we started to get momentum as a team, then the offense fucked up and Josh Allen ended up fumbling the damn ball. Also, don't feel like the O-line was great yesterday. And also, on top of everything, I feel like Josh Allen just wasn't allowed to be Josh Allen. Now, I will say right away, Josh's receivers sold him. He did not actually do that bad at all. Matter of fact, he made one of the craziest throws I've ever fucking seen. The one rushing touchdown on offense came out of Ty Johnson. James Cook was pretty neutralized, although running wasn't our plan after about, I don't know, 5 minutes into the game. Khalil Shakir led receiving, made another nice play. Keon Coleman bounced back after making an identical drop to what Diggs had in the playoffs. And the defense that we've been known to shut down everybody was just a sieve. The secondary was sleeping and the run defense was non-existent. Looking at Baltimore, Lamar 13 for 18. 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty sure only 40 of these yards went to receivers, by the way. Derrick Henry carried the load, 24 carries for 199 yards and a touchdown. Remember in my preseason running back rankings when I had him as my number 2 running back and I got like so much shit for it? Like people were acting like it was literally the dumbest thing I ever said. I feel like it's not that inaccurate, so I guess I'll take one victory lap out of this. Receiving was led by Justice Hill, 6 for 78 and a score. Derrick Henry also had a receiving touchdown. And the defense, even though they didn't pick Josh Allen off, sacked him 3 times, and I'm gonna have nightmares about Kyle Van Noy for the next 2 years. Seriously, Baltimore, no animosity, no excuses. You guys played a great game, and you kicked the absolute shit out of us. And Bills Mafia, it just happens, man, and now we gotta figure it out. Anyway, guys, that is going to be all for my Week 4 NFL reactions. Hope you guys are continuing to enjoy these videos, and if you are, you already know what to do to show support, and please do it because you know I appreciate any and all help. However, in the meantime, I'm going to get this edited so you guys can watch it on time. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and I'll see you in the next video.